Welcome, everybody, to another episode of TENtalks. I'm Sherry Frost. I'm the co-chair of the New Hampshire Progressive Coalition, and I'm excited to have you join us for another installment of our TENtalk series. A TENtalk is a brief little 10-minute encounter with a candidate who, for the first 5 minutes, gets to talk about anything they want. Maybe there's a question that they wish they get asked on the campaign trail. Maybe there's something happening in the news that they really want to talk about. Maybe there's a concept or idea that they want to delve a little bit more deeply into. Anything. After that, I get 5 minutes to ask lighter questions that may or may not have anything to do with anything at all. So with that, let's get started. You ready, Emmett? You're on.
Ready. All right.
Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce you. Goodness.
Oh, I can do it.
We are having today's TENtalk. Sorry about that. We're having today's TENtalk with Emmett Soldati, who is a Democratic candidate for the Executive Council, District 2. And he is the candidate who's been endorsed by the Progressive Coalition. Now, Emmett, are you ready?
I'm super ready now.
Okay, go.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here. So I wanted to talk about something that's on my mind, and this is actually something that doesn't get a lot of airtime in my campaign or any campaign. And it's really about recovery from COVID and economic recovery. So I run a small business. It's a cafe. I've had it for almost 10 years, and we had to close our doors. And the goal is to reopen, but that was obviously a tough decision, just losing basically my life's work and my entire schedule and routine and way of living for the last decade, virtually overnight. But I wanted to talk about the things that I've started to hear and build community with other small business owners, other restaurant owners that are kind of going through the same thing, because it really, never occurred to me how little of a voice small business owners, and I mean like small, independently owned, local Main Street business owners have at the table, because we're all very busy. We're working 70 hours a week, where many of us are, hiring people. We're owner operated. We're running our own shops, which usually means we are mopping the floors along with paying the bills. And I remember one time, Congressman from Pennsylvania who ran for president, Joe Sestak, he used to sit on the Small Business Administration Committee in Congress, and he visited my shop once, and he said, I'm so proud of you. You're a small business owner, yada, yada, because there's actually, it's a big sort of unkept secret. There's no representation for small business in Congress, because people would go to all these hearings, from the Senate Judiciary Committee to Department of Homeland Security meetings, all this stuff, and he told me nobody ever shows up for any small business hearing, any small business meeting ever. And we always love to use the small business owner as this example of like, we can't do this, it hurts small business owners, we need to support small business owners. And it actually turns out they're not referring to anyone in particular. Small business owners are actually never paying attention because they have too much going on at any one time. And so the thing that I've started to think about it and learn and realize through this process is just how unrepresented they've been. Because now I'm in this situation, and other restaurant owners are in this situation, where I can't imagine a world in which I reopen where we don't have something like paid sick leave. It was a great run we had for the last several decades, where any business owner, restaurant, you name it, just kind of keeps pushing along, and folks that are just trying to pay rent work while they're sick or whatnot, because everyone's got to make a living. And there's really no benefits in this industry, in the hospitality industry, in the restaurant industry. And also for the owners themselves. So many business owners, are making less than most of their staff, if not all of their staff. And that was kind of the program for so long. And so many of us were working, so many hours in the grind. And now, if I have a single employee, if I were to reopen and a single employee got sick, I'd have to close for 2 weeks at minimum. And I wouldn't have any guarantee that there would be another stimulus package. There wouldn't be another guarantee of unemployment benefits. And so I'm starting to hear from small business owners come off the sidelines in really unique ways that I have not heard or seen. I think as business owners, as someone that's putting a product out there, we tend to think of ourselves as we need to be apolitical. We need to be on the sidelines. Hey, whoa, we're just selling you this thing. And then we look around with COVID in terms of, other than the public health aspect, who was the first hit? It was all of our restaurants. It was all of our Main Street businesses. It was all the folks that had a single family business that was owner operated. And that's when we realized, when the unemployment system broke, when the safety net broke, that we actually should have come off the sidelines a lot earlier. And so I think recovery is going to be a lot harder because America's kind of not ready to realize the reality of that. There's this romanticized view of the small business owner. So many people find themselves in this profession, in this world, because of passion, because of love of their community, love of their craft. And most of the time they have to boost themselves, and they have to really kind of extol the virtues of their success, that they're doing great. And you peel the layer, and what COVID did is it peeled the layer and said, oh, well, that was really loud. I'm going to wrap up here. I didn't know that was going to go off. But you peel the layer, and they weren't doing so well. Yeah. If I personally had shut down my business in February, if I'd closed up shop or whatnot, people would have said, oh, I guess your business model didn't work. I guess you weren't a good business owner. I guess you didn't have a good idea. You weren't a good entrepreneur. And a month later, if I'd closed my business in March, I'm a genius. I'm getting ahead of the curve. I'm doing what's right. And I think we're now starting to learn truths about our economy. I mean, the majority of our economy is run through small business, and yet we don't actually listen to the experiences of workers for small businesses, for owners of small businesses. And yet we get thrown around every election season. But, I was always told that raising the minimum wage was bad for small businesses. And then, I start to pipe up and say, actually, I'd prefer if more people in my area were making more money, because they would support me as they could shop for me. So I think, I'm both concerned about the recovery of our main streets, but I also feel like I'm hearing from small business owners and those that really are in the hustle and have been too busy to really be involved in anything other than their life's work to say, I need to be political. This is my livelihood, my family's livelihood. And I'm excited to kind of join that chorus of voices that can kind of speak the truth about how kind of brutal our economy can be in so many places.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I think that's what's really needed. We were talking, my husband and I, the other day about how few people are able to participate in politics because they're just too busy surviving. Right? Totally. They don't have the spoons. I don't have the time. I can't devote any more energy. I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about the rent and the car. What if the car breaks? What if we get sick? It's just too much.
Totally. And then just to respond to that, I think then there's this moment where when they have some freedom, they have some free time, they have some space, there's a lot of shame about non-voting, and there's a lot of shame about not participating. Yep. And, I don't want to sit around and complain about how many hours a day I work, or hours a week I work. But it is true that, like, when you are working 70 hours a week, there really isn't many more hours a week.
That's it. That's all you get. Right.
That is it. And then It's like, if you add up what the, take home pay of most of the people we're talking about, that is less than the federal minimum wage. And you're right. I just think, we often hear, and I'll wrap up. I know you want to answer some or ask some sillier questions. I hope. I do. Less political ones, but we often hear this thing, this trope always frustrates me. People say, oh, people aren't voting because they don't think their voice matters. That if you just tell them that their voice matters, then they'll vote. Like and we see that happen when people are like, look, in this election, they won by 3 votes. See, your vote matters.
Right.
And I don't think that people think their vote doesn't matter or their voice doesn't matter. I think the reason we have voter disenfranchisement is, other than, very real voter suppression, is people are so busy that nobody actually gives them the bandwidth, gives them the time to have the space to think about elections. I mean, I'm so glad that we're in this absentee voting space, because we literally forced people to go into a room for 5 minutes and look on a piece of paper that has dozens of offices with many, many names for each one.
Right.
Then maybe referendum questions. and expect them to get out of there in 5 minutes and have made a sound decision for their livelihoods.
Mm-hmm.
That's ludicrous. That's absolutely ludicrous. And I hope we can take from this that people deserve the opportunity to take their vote seriously and the time and the mechanism to do that. So anyways, that's a whole other TENtalk.
We can totally do that. Maybe we should schedule one. All right, so let's get into the fun stuff. What was your first job?
I'm fun. I promise I'm fun. I'm not.
You are a lot of fun. What was your first job?
Well, I mean, definitely a lemonade stand. I did have a lemonade stand. I'm at my cafe now on the corner of Washington and Main. I had it. And I think I had a paper route immediately before that. And, don't ever give a 6-year-old a job. Because immediately I was like, they don't need their paper. I don't like going down their driveway. And I got fired pretty quickly. So I was like, that's it. I can't work for anyone else. I need to be an entrepreneur. I started this lemonade stand and I set it up and I was making $20 a day, which was bank. I mean, this is 2000 this was, the 1990s. And then one day the chief of police walked by my lemonade stand and said, Emmett, we gotta bring you into the precinct. I got booked. And they brought me in. Here I was like a 7-year-old kid in downtown Somersworth. And they said, Emmett, you're going to need a hawkers and peddlers license to do this. And I was like, no way am I going through that bureaucratic paperwork. So my lemonade stand was shut down by the government.
Oh my God. That's a great story. That's fantastic. Okay, let's see. What's something you're really good at but dislike doing?
Oh, I thought you were supposed to like everything that you're good at.
No, not necessarily, no.
Oh, it's a mood thing because I'm pretty good at spreadsheets.
Really?
But sometimes I'm like, I'm in the zone, and other times it's like I really don't want to have to do this. So I'm also like very handy, and I'm very being a small business owner, like I'm very good with like fixing and tinkering.
Ooh.
But I'm also like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather be like typing an email behind my laptop.
Okay. All right. Cool. What is your favorite amusement park ride?
The one that spins this way and spins around. It's like
you're sitting in a clamshell?
No, not the clam. It's more open. It's rectangular, and it's these little it's just like a little bench, and you can sit with up to three people.
Oh yeah, that one.
Like, ooh.
Yeah. What do they call that? The Scrambler?
Maybe the Scrambler.
I think it's the Scrambler. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Do you respect authority?
Do I respect authority? I respect respect. Like if people are like, hey, I'll give you a reason to follow me or whatever, I'm like, I'm down. But like on the surface of it, because it's authority, I'm like, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's ask some questions. Let's probe a little more.
Fair enough.
But I do believe in respect. I very much, whether I'm speaking politically or as a business owner, you learn that respect is its own currency that you can't gain unless you give. So I definitely don't want to be like yes, I always respect authority, but I'm very much like, we can win. Respect is an avenue to win over hearts and minds and power and blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Blah, blah, blah. Okay.
I don't think these answers are supposed to be novels. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. It's great.
Yes. No. Please.
Is there a food that you hated as a kid but like now?
Black licorice. Is that a food? Is that a food?
It is, but really?
Okay. Oh, yeah, I love black licorice. I mean, I'm sure, basically probably every vegetable. I'm a big vegetable person now and wasn't. Like tomatoes, hated tomatoes. But black licorice, love black licorice. Okay,
well, you get all my black jelly beans at Easter then.
Please.
Let's see. What do you take too seriously?
My dad would say nothing. This will come as no surprise to people, but like my college sport of choice was debating.
Okay.
that was my athletic. So I'm definitely someone that I can nerd out in terms of like, let's get philosophical and even if it's sort of disassociated from reality. So I can take that too seriously.
I think you and I need to spend more time together.
Oh.
I really do. Yeah.
Are we gonna dig in?
Yeah, I think we could. What living person, does not necessarily have to be famous, what living person do you most admire?
Well, I should have been prepped with these questions. What living person do I most admire? This is like, I feel like I've been asked this before and it's like a cop-out or something, but like I learned so much about my father when he ran for Congress, which was 2 years ago, that growing up, he was very, tight-lipped and didn't, I didn't know that my dad was drafted during Vietnam until I was like 20 years old. He just he's not a sharer.
Yeah.
And so then he was on this, we were in his congressional campaign. So of course, all the biographical stuff comes out, and I have a I've always loved my dad. We have a good relationship, but a newfound sort of love and respect for his background, and things he did in the 80s, that it's just damn, that's so cool, Dad. But there's so many other, I have local heroes. I'm a locavore. I'm all my people that I'm surrounded with, I truly believe are the most incredible people on earth. And I'm so grateful to be where I am and meet the people. So I don't want to discount anyone, but
it's not, no, that's fine. That's totally fine. All right. Last one. What instantly melts your heart? Makes you squee? Or are you not squishy?
No, I definitely am squishy. I also say oh, that warms my heart a lot. That's an expression that I use. I mean, this is silly, but definitely human kindness is I interact with it so much. People are just so willing. What I love about New Hampshire is people love to meet people, and there's no agenda. People have no trajectory that they think that they can't include other people on. Also good fashion. If people have good glasses or something, I don't know if it warms my heart, but I'm very much if someone compliments people's glasses and stuff, I'm always oh, that's so sweet. I want to put a plug in for dancing. I don't know if that anyone that's a good dancer, I'm really into that.
Okay.
I'm over answering these questions. Was there a question about what do I over answer?
It was terrific. That was great. And that's a TENtalk. There it is.
That's it?
That's it. Wasn't that fun?
Oh, that was less painful than a COVID test.
See, telling you. You don't dig all the way up into your frontal lobe.
Yeah. Well, then there's a self-administered one. So this was very easy because I had you along for the ride.
Thank you. All right. Thanks so much. Good luck in this race. We are pulling for you. We can't wait. Yeah. And we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sherry.
Bye.
Bye.